Hello and welcome back to Everybody Lives Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. Last time we met, the party regrouped on Stormreef Isle and concluded their day of training. All of the players who had remained behind to help tutor the army and challenge them, having found great success, their tutelage being very well understood and adopted, and seeing great strides in these people who very much want to fight for revenge for their families and their homes, but for the vast majority of them have never been fighters, being trained in the arts of sneaking and the arts of survival, and the most important art of all, insult sword fighting. The fragment of the party that stayed here was very well rewarded with the progress of their students. The portion of the party that separated and went to Sol Syracuse came back also victorious with their new learnings in tow. Unfortunately, they came in to the disappearance of Cyrus, who had become a lot of candy that Raiken was encouraging the soldiers to eat to not to gain the courage of their enemy so much as to take the courage of their enemy, because in his words, if they see you eat their friends, they will freak out.
Definitely.
Vendar set immediately about utilizing the information that he'd gained on Sol Syracuse to try and reproduce the nitroglycerin, and did not really endear himself to anybody in the world over in doing so, but is making progress on his brew as the party has gathered to discuss their respective projects and respective progress. At the end of that discussion, the man known as the Coffers, Rialan, came up to General Yukikaze to explain what he'd been doing, how he'd been working with the carpenters to make wagons that could be collapsed and sent through teleportation circles or whatever means of magical transit they have, on the other side of which expanded and have all the supplies being carried by individual soldiers placed upon it to make their journey from here to Ebengard that much easier. After which he came to the point of what it is going to cost to run the army, which was a hefty sum, 1,500 gold pieces to keep the army fed and housed here for the next month. And he was pressing Yukikaze and the others for these funds so that you could continue operating the army. When that was not bearing fruit, he insisted that he would make a catalog of Tatsuya's rooms within the inn, since he had left abruptly, but supposedly, according to everything the army has been convinced of, this is a transition of power intended by Bahamut himself, and so the party should be in a position to take the reins. He initially was dismissed to go do that, but moments later, the party kind of realized, well, maybe we don't actually want him going through Tatsuya's things in case they are dangerous or incriminating. And so they were moving to intercept him and convince him to let them handle it, led by Yukikaze. As you are heading toward the staircase here, you're going to go past this buffet with a beautiful roast pig hole on it, and as you're tromping past, you're suddenly going to hear Cyrus' voice saying, "Hey, get me down from here!" And as you turn back, the roast pig will be instead Cyrus laid across the plate and hog-tied.
That's uncomfortable for everyone involved.
He is dressed, at least.
I'll tell you. Hey guys, can someone help Cyrus? I'm gonna continue to Tatsuya's room.
I assist Cyrus.
Okay, it doesn't take long, so as long as, you get him down and keep moving, you'll be right behind Yuki. Is that the intention?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was certainly one of the more uncomfortable entries.
Larman just tell Cyrus that Vendar is in the mansion. And it's just Leah, Yukikaze, and me. Or no, Raiken's also going to investigate.
Raiken decided not to stay at the table.
Okay.
So it is everybody because
the...
you didn't want to leave the simulacra there. So the simulacra are also following.
I turn to the simulacra and say that you can enter the mansion. And wait for us there. The rest of us are going to look through names escaping me now. Tatsuya. Tatsuya's room.
Jebel.
That's me.
In the time that you were away, you will have found the item that you and I will agree on later, and you may use... you get permission from university staff to use transit via plants to leave. I mean, I suppose you could just do it.
They have rules about spellcasting.
They have rules about teleportation. And those rules are enforced by their own spells. You were warned when you went there, in the session that you all went there, that if you intend to leave, you need to come back to the teleportation hub, because teleportation doesn't work elsewhere. So if transit via plants is a conjuration spell, it will be blocked by them, so you would need to get special permission to do it, unless you went to the teleportation hub and found a tree near enough to there that it was within the exemption.
Yeah, it is conjuration.
Yeah, so that means it's teleportation, which means it'll be covered by their blocking spells.
Okay. So if I have to get permission, we'll get permission.
Yeah. You will arrive as you see them heading up the stairs. They seem to be in a hurry.
Then I'll rush to catch up.
Alright. And the party moves. Now I have to try and remember where I shoved Ryalan. There he is. Alright, so, you get to the room. Yukikaze, you were leading the charge, so you pull the door open, and you can see Ryalan within, and he's going to be... You're going to see, like, he's already pulled a bunch of things out of, like, a chest of drawers and a wardrobe, and he's sort of, like, putting them in stacks and taking notes.
So, it says Ryalan, right?
Yeah, Ryalan.
Ryalan.
You see he finishes off the note that he's making, and then he looks over at you, his pale eyes, tracking up your body to your own. And he says, "Yes, General."
In the course of everything that was going on, it slipped my mind. When our positions were redirected by Bahamut, I didn't actually get to see everything or know all the tactics that Tatsuya had in mind. So it's probably, for me, a smart idea to actually see some of his notes and stuff.
Well, I agree with that, General. That's why I was making the comprehensive list for you, so you could go through it more easily.
Instead of going through it twice, you going through it then me, I'll just go through it. I don't. There are a lot of important things you need to get done also, and I think it'd be more efficient if I just did it.
He's going to snap his journal closed and slide it into a pouch. And then weaving his fingers together, he's going to take a breath, looking around at the room, saying, "Very well. I have already seen to the transport of goods once we arrive in Ebengard. All that really remains, for now, is the money. I was hoping to find that here."
For the time being, I just didn't know how much of my own funds I wanted to put in. Well, no, it's important. My mind's got a lot on my mind. I apologize. I'll give you 10 platinum right now, toward the coffers, and I will decide on, I wanted to talk to my lieutenants to see if they wanted to pitch in before I gave everything I had.
I think out of character, at the end of the last session, and one of the things that prompted us coming up here to talk to coffers is we know that we have the money.
Well, I know we have the money, but I'm not just going to force you guys to give it. So that's why I'm going to discuss it.
No, like
literally, we found
Yukikaze knows
for the army.
No. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Yukikaze knows that we had a bag with the money that was from Tatsu. So, like, it's not a matter of stealing from all of us.
Yes, that's right.
So, like, that is a thing that you are aware of.
Thank you for reminding me, Laramentis. I completely forgot.
Well, that was Sam reminding Malachi.
Yeah, no, that's
out of character. That was not Laramentis chiming in. Just because that was a thing that happened in universe like 5 minutes ago.
Can I scratch? I'm still gonna play up the thing that I was a little bit my little bit of a scatterbrain, and say that. And so I'll backpedal a little bit. Say, yes, it just slipped my mind also about the money. We do have 500 gold. Was it 500, right? 1,500 gold that was left. Or that was allotted for me.
Oh, well. That is good news. I am concerned about your health, General. The army does need you at your best, so if I may be so bold, might I suggest you increase your rest?
I will. That's a wise counsel. I should get some rest.
He's going to leave the piles of clothing and paperwork that he had been sorting when you came into the room, and he's going to approach you and say, "Well then, if you can just transfer the money to me, I will get all of that squared away for you," and he'll wave his hand generally around the room and say, "This can be all yours."
I'll telepath real quick. Who has all the gold?
I got it.
Vendar. We can arrange. We don't need to give it to him. We can arrange for it tomorrow morning.
That's why I'm asking. He said so. Vendar has it. So okay. I will have the gold. I will fetch the gold for you first thing in the morning.
Very well, General. If there is nothing else...
Nope, that'll be all. I thank you very much for your service.
Very well. Good night, General.
Good night. I always forget his freaking name. I always keep thinking of coffers.
I mean, he does...
It's catchy.
It is catchy.
There's a reason why all the soldiers call him coffers.
It is very catchy. Alright. Alright, guys. So... we find any, let's see if we can find any interesting objects in here.
Before we touch anything, we should detect magic.
That's my thought exactly.
Yeah, I can do that.
I can do that now too.
All you magic detectors.
I will shape into that thing that you made. What's his name?
Oh, Cal.
Right.
The Quetzal.
He can shapeshift into the bird.
I forgot that you could do that.
It's super useful.
Especially now that I have unlimited wild shape.
Yes. Alright. Leah, you cast Detect Magic using your invocation. And you pass your gaze about the room, looking for anything aglow. You are going to catch some auras about the room. I would say 3 different auras, but the objects that they are attached to are out of your sight, probably in one of the drawers or under the bed. Or in the wardrobe is where they appear to be.
Do we know if they are booby-trapped?
You don't. The auras don't seem to be on the objects themselves, since you cannot tell what school of magic they are by looking.
Yeah, unless you can see the object, you can't concentrate on it to tell the school. You just know that there is magic afoot.
So,
I'm gonna start searching. I'm gonna start investigating.
Okay. Very good. You may roll your investigation.
I think when Laramenda sees Leah go specifically for a thing, he will ask, have you found any sources of magic?
Yeah, but I can't tell exactly where they are. They seem to be hidden somewhere.
I think I will turn to the room and say, perhaps there should be a minimum of people in the room.
Yeah, there's a minimum of 5 people in the room.
Well, I got 11 on the investigation.
Okay.
I'm looking very pointedly at the people who don't do magic.
I will step out.
This is my brother's room. I should be part of this.
You can be part of things once we have handled the magic. Perhaps?
No, nobody told me yet what was in the bag either that we found.
Didn't we?
I think that we've had those discussions over telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then where's my brother's medal?
Didn't I already give you the medal?
I don't think you gave it to him.
I feel like I'm pretty sure I specifically asked you if you wanted this. Because it was something that was his. I'm like, I don't need this. You might want it.
I know that when you went through the bag, you were in different rooms. You did list the contents of the bag over the bond. I don't know if any direct...
Maybe we haven't been in the same room together since.
That's very possible. Since you pretty much...
Anyway,
that's true,
waiting
yeah.
for you to come get it. I'm busy.
The only time that they were in the same room together was when
Vendar was covered in shit walking through it.
Yes.
I was walking through covered in shit, yeah.
Alright, so since Laramenda has insisted that you not be in the room, are you going to take this opportunity to go find Vendar, or are you going to insist on staying in the room?
No, Riken will wait outside because he wants to be there for when they're done.
Okay. You have 4 magic casters in the room, Sam. Is that what you want?
Leah knows... Leah, can you tell me where all of the magic is? And can you stand back? I can look through things myself in case anything triggers.
Can I?
Yeah, you feel like, even though you can't see the sources, you feel the 3 distinct auras, and you think one is in the wardrobe next to you, here, one is in the bureau, and one may be under the bed or in the footlocker.
Okay. Tell him that.
Excellent. Laramendus will ask that all of you step farther away in case anything happens. And then proceed to investigate, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, Leah had begun
Sorry, she had
reaching
started
for the wardrobe when you made these requests.
Well, I'll be honest. I'll be around the door and be like, I don't want to be mean to Simulacrum, but could you use those guys to mess with stuff in case something does happen?
They might be expensive.
Maybe he is going to be a good wizard.
If something can trigger by touch, I can always use Mage Hand.
Yeah, same.
Sending in the simulacrum. I am loath to send in the simulacra that can cast 9th level spells without considerable backlash.
I got
So
you.
I think that we should do this ourselves. Laramendus is like struggling as he's saying this because he doesn't want to do this himself. He has already been blown up today.
Fair. Mine can't cast 9th level spells. But it does still have 8.
Yeah, I think that Laramendus is content to attempt to do this himself until it blows
Alright,
up on him.
well, I tried.
He would also send the simulacra into the mansion.
Yeah. But now you've got 3 people that can cast Mage Hand, and this thing's going to be a Mage Hand.
I can also cast Mage Hand, I think.
Yeah, that's 3 of you.
Oh no, I can't. I don't have it today.
There's 2 of you.
Did you intend that to show up already?
Yeah, that's Mage Hand.
Oh, that's...
They don't have, like,
It
just
doesn't
a
say
little...
what the hand is from, it just says it's a spectral hand.
Yeah. This one has a lot of tentacles. Instead of
The better to
fingers.
grip things.
Yeah.
All the tentacles are part of one hand.
The optimal mage hand. So I suppose I will open the wardrobe and then. Make
We're
an
not
investigation
even
check,
Mage
or-
Handing? You're just going for it?
I can open it with Mage Hand.
Oh, all right. Laramendus is standing in front of it.
Zoop. Mage Hand. The Mage Hand floats over to open it. Wraps its fingers around the handle and pulls it open. As the door to this wardrobe opens before you, Laramendus, you're going to look within, and you're going to see that everything inside seems to be obscured behind a brilliant and swirling spirograph pattern in the air. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. That is a 16 on die, which makes that a 22. And I have Riken's bonus?
It's 30 feet, so yeah.
Okay, so that makes that a 25.
Okay. You overcome the illusory effects of the hypnotic pattern spell, clearly triggered when the door was opened by not Tatsuya.
Mm-hmm.
Leah, you notice that one of the magic auras disappears.
Oh, that's curious.
That is unfortunate.
You see the inside of this wardrobe. There are several sets of clothing hung from the bars on the left and right of the center. There are several sets of nice clothing, as well as daily comfortable clothing, and what look like perhaps bed clothing, night clothing. There are a few very oddly shaped, like sandals or moccasins at the bottom. Perhaps something just soft and comfortable to walk around in when not wearing sabatons or barefoot, as the Dragonborn tend to be. You also see that there are some small wooden bins that seem to be filled with parchment that has writing all over them. There's got to be at least a couple dozen sheafs of parchment in here. You don't know what's written on them as yet, but if he's protecting it with a hypnotic pattern spell, it might be important.
Yeah. So Laramentis will telepath. It seems likely to me that the other containers where the magic is coming from are also some trap, probably in a similar vein. I would expect that it is not deadly to whoever opens it, on the assumption that he wouldn't necessarily want to kill someone just for being in here, if he had most of his most suspicious things on his person. But I would be unsurprised if one of them destroyed the contents of whatever container that it was in, if the contents are dangerous enough, as opposed to killing whoever opens it.
Or secret it, like you didn't want people to know what the contents were.
Yes. I am looking up the spell magic to see if I need to see the thing. Which is on creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends for each spell of 4th level or higher. So if I am aware of a magic within, like, the chest, can I cast Dispel Magic on that without opening the chest?
It is non-specific about being able to see it. It just has to be an effect within range. So if somebody has pointed at something and you cast Dispel Magic, you are able to cast Dispel Magic on things that don't have magic on them. So it stands to reason that you could cast Dispel Magic on something you didn't know had magic on it and dispel the magic that's on it without knowing anything about that magic. So I would say, as long as your conceptualization about where the magic, like what object has the magic on it, or your conceptualization about what the effect is accurate when casting the spell, then it would have no reason not to be allowed to be effective.
Can you use clairvoyance to look inside a box?
I mean, it is for looking on the other side of doors, so...
Have I stopped preparing clairvoyance?
Oh.
Because I've had it for like 2 years and I've not used it once.
True.
What level is it?
2, 3.
See, that's
I
why
have
you have to
stopped
hold out hope.
preparing clairvoyance.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I never stopped preparing reincarnate. And eventually...
he knew it would eventually come in handy in buying the gods he was
use that spell. I knew.
It had to happen.
Yeah, I had faith.
You hang a druid on the mantle in Act 1, and then...
Yeah.
By Act 3, he lives forever. Wait, no.
So, we can make a choice here. I can attempt to dispel the sources of magic in the other containers on the assumption that it is a trap in a similar vein to this. We could just open them and see if it manages to destroy whatever is inside. I'm not inclined to that option, but it is technically an option. We can wait until tomorrow when I can prepare clairvoyance, and I can look inside of them and see what things look like, which would theoretically it would be unlikely that would trigger a normal kind of rune that would be causing one of these traps. Do people have thoughts, desires? Either way, we should take these writings and look through them.
Is there any way to get inside the objects to get a look at the source so we can identify what school it is? Small crack, hole, something that a animal or insect could fit through?
They're not, like, airtight, so yeah, if somebody could become or had access to a small bug, it would be able to crawl inside easily.
Jebel, you up for that, or should I?
You know that most flying insects do not see in the dark.
Oh, somebody could... Well, you can't... I don't think you can cast light on a person, so no, that wouldn't work. Laramendus, you have the light cantrip, right?
Yes.
Got a spare beard hair?
Laramendus does not have
I'm
a beard.
using all of these.
Figure we can cast light on that, show it through the same hole that the fly goes through. That way it can see.
Fly could just carry a hair.
Yeah.
Or that.
Far less dangerous than getting close enough to touch the object.
So, people on board with this plan?
If Jebel can turn into something that's small, that can fit through, it is possible that it could. The most likely trigger is that it's open. That it opens from someone who is not Tatsuya.
Because is it possible that somebody that's related by blood could bypass it?
You would specify the creatures that are able to get through. So if he did not specify you when it was cast, then
there's no way of knowing that.
It's very likely he put, like, he did not include you in the spell, and more likely he would make an extra condition happen with you.
You know, I wouldn't put it past him to do that.
If Raiken, blow up him and the contents. If not Raiken and not Tatsuya, blow up contents.
I mean, I'm just glad somebody else said it.
I mean, you laughed to make me think I was onto something.
It is what was going through my head, yes.
To the voice in the sky, the triggers. How likely do I think the trigger would be, like, somebody who is not Tatsuya sees a thing in there as opposed to opens up the chest?
It was not... You are confident that Tatsuya is a paladin, and therefore would not have the range of spells to set up this trap himself, meaning somebody else who does magic did it. I preface it that way to say whoever did it is somebody who thinks in a way similar to you. A wizard, very likely. And so you feel confident following that path of logic, that the simplest way to do it without compromising whatever it is that this person you very much trust wants to protect They would just make it someone opens the drawer who is not Tatsuya.
Yeah.
That way he can put whatever he wants in there that he feels needs to be protected, and the spell can just stay in place until it's needed.
So if Jebel can turn into something small enough to go through, then that's fine. He should be safe. And the contents should be safe.
You're going to illuminate a mote of dust for him to carry with him?
Just gonna pluck a hair.
And did Jebel agree to this?
Well, I'll do it. It was just I was looking to see, because like the smallest size under beasts is tiny, which includes badgers.
Yeah.
I think Tiny acts like Gargantuan does in this, that like Tiny is just everything this
'Cause
size and smaller.
Yeah.
I think. But
Anyway, so he's probably right that minuscule or tiny in this case is the catch-all for this size and smaller, since they did that to Gargantuan. And it's reasonable to believe that any insect should be considered a beast. So, you've seen lots of bugs in your day. Pick one.
A fly.
Okay, you turn into a fly. He becomes a fly, a la Jeff Goldblum.
I cast light on...
Thankfully faster!
I cast light on a hair that I have trimmed and hauled it out.
The fly, Jebel, since Wild Shape lets you retain your intelligence and personality, you are able to flutter over and grasp the hair between your 6 legs and buzz yourself around this chest of drawers until you find a gap large enough for your crunchy body to slide into. The hair is a blessing, because without it you cannot see in the dark, but it does illuminate this tiny space brilliantly. Initially you find that you are in what is effectively an underwear drawer. There's a whole lot of breech clouts in here, and small clothes and shirts. Trying to think. I think in the first drawer, you wouldn't find anything of particular note, but once you're in past the door, you're able to crawl around the inside, even flutter around the inside pretty well. So you're able to get to the lower drawer here, and here you do find that there are writing utensils, stacks of parchment, wells of ink, and a quill. And this quill stands out to you because in the light shed by the hair you're carrying, it seems to shimmer a little bit in a way you don't expect, just like a bird's feather to reflect the light. It reminds you quite significantly of the feathers of the Quetzal, which you can become, and the hair of the man who carried the Quetzal with him. There's something not quite natural about it.
Is anything else catch my eyes?
Your compound eyes? No, everything else looks pretty mundane. Again, even though it's a chest of drawers where the top drawer was clothings, there were no clothings in this drawer. It seems all to be writing supplies. And there's just something slightly off-kilter about the quill that's in the drawer here, alongside the wells of ink. Unless you're able to detect magic while in Wild Shape, I'm not sure there's much you can do to try and find out more.
If I had it prepared, well, I'd probably be able to, but Let me think.
That's right, you do have the ability to do that now, don't you? Cast spells
Yeah.
in wild shape.
Maybe.
Magic
I don't have-
bear!
I don't have an awful lot of like really useful ability spells that would actually do anything in here.
Hmm.
Like, I don't really want to cast Moonbeam on the
You sure?
writing equipment.
I think it could be a plan. You don't want to cast Blight in there?
No.
If we destroy the chest, like by casting blight on it, it's not. It hasn't been opened.
Sam,
by
you
not-
know that's not correct.
I know.
It hasn't been opened in the traditional sense. It has absolutely been opened.
I'm going to squeeze my way back out. 'Cause I
Okay.
do have a question for Lara Mendes.
Remember that you're still on the bond. You
Oh.
could ask it while you're in there.
Then I will telepath to Lara Mendes. I have a question.
I may have an answer.
Right. So you're concerned that opening this drawer is going to do some damage?
Yes.
Specifically,
The concern is
opening
that
it.
there's a yes. If I was going to trap any container, that is how I would do it.
So I could just like cut a hole in the back of the drawer, maybe. I mean, would that be quote unquote opening it?
Arcana check?
Arcana check.
That's a poor roll. But probably enough. That's a 28.
82.
It's possible that that could bypass it, but you feel like, especially in the assumed case that this is someone loyal to Tatsuya who created this so that he could keep things safe from potential usurpers or threats to the army, that they would probably just treat any breach of the volume as a reason to trigger.
Yeah. So it's possible, but I don't think it's worth the risk.
Okay. Yeah, there's a quill in here. It looks like it might be magical, but I have no idea how to get this out of here.
Well, if the magic is there, we can't really tell that there's like how many sources of magic would be in it. If you can't, you'd just be able to tell that there is magic inside. So
Without being able to see the objects, you
Yeah.
can't differentiate the auras.
yeah,
Not if they're in the same box, anyway. It does seem that Leah probably saw the aura of the Glyph of Warding on the first one. It is
Yeah.
possible that if this quill is magic, it may be overlapping with the aura of a Glyph of Warding, or there may not be a Glyph of Warding. Both of those are possibilities.
hmm
What will you do?
the other thing we could do is just put Leah on the ethereal plane tomorrow. I have etherealness.
You want to do what?
I guess I could go into the ethereal plane and detect magic and look through the box. Like that would be fine. But it seems possible that there is more magic than just a glyph of warding. I could, because dispel magic is an effect that you, right, or magical effect within range. So like I could choose a glyph of warding. Although, I mean, depending on how paranoid I am about a thing, I might have a glyph of warding that triggers on a glyph of warding getting dispelled. So there's 2 of them in there. Or, well, probably more than 2, just in case somebody goes and does exactly what I'm proposing, of dispelling a glyph of warding. And that way, you have 2 glyphs of warding that trigger on somebody dispelling one. And then
It's worth remembering there's a substantial monetary cost each time you cast that.
It's true.
So there might not be excessive numbers.
If
I'm
I'm
paranoid enough.
If I'm paranoid enough about what's inside, though, that cost might be worth it. Could you look to see if you can see a glyph of warding at any of the locks? I think it's an investigation check. It's a pretty high DC, though.
And what do those look like? Would I know them when I see them, or do I have to know what I'm looking for?
It'll look like a little magic symbol. It's tiny.
Okay, I'll have a look-see. It's,
Warding. Bard Cleric, Wizard Artificer. It is not a druid spell. You don't know it offhand. You could make an Arcana check, Jebel, to see if you've read of this or encountered this at all.
the time when we were in the camp in the south, with what was it, Platinum Dragons down there, and your man, the Lich?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I stepped on...
You stepped on a few, because you were just blasting through them since you had too much
You
health.
probably didn't actually look at what the glyphs look like. I think Laramentis can describe, like, enough of what a glyph of warding is going to look like that if you can manage to see it, you'd be able to tell me that it's there.
Okay.
Because it would very clearly not be a thing that one would expect to be there. And I'll also tell him where I think... I want to give him the help action by telling him where I would have cast the glyph were I to do it in there.
Okay.
So it's a investigation check against the spell save DC.
Where's an intelligence investigation check against the spell save DC?
That's a 19.
Okay.
Damn.
A 19 will, in this case, be high enough, and as you are buzzing around within the drawer with your, strand of Laramentis hair as a light source, you are going to notice a dimpling on the inside panel of the wooden drawer, the front panel, that at first just looks like an unevenness in the wood, maybe some water damage, but upon, tracking back and forth across it a couple times, it really starts to tickle your brain, and finally you realize that it is a magical rune. You don't see the power around it, but you finally see the pattern to it.
Oh, just over the bond. Yeah, I see what you're looking at, or looking for.
Excellent. So I suppose the big question is if there is a second one in there. That would trigger when we dispel that one. Which is much more difficult to identify, because I don't know where it would exactly be.
It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you.
I'll fix it. I can just twin dispel.
I always find it amusing if
I will.
would
that work, Mr. DM? Targeting 2 dispels versus glyphs on the chest?
The quick answer is yes, and you don't need to. So you wouldn't need to, because you can cast Dispel Magic on an object that you know has a magical effect on it, and it goes against all the magical effects on it. So if it has 2 glyphs placed on it, your Dispel Magic upon the chest should go against both magical glyphs.
Yeah.
One after the other.
I wasn't thinking about a glyph of warding as being cast on the object. I guess it is.
Yeah.
Kind of?
Yeah. It usually, if the object gets moved in most cases, more than a certain distance, and the trigger can be something happens to the object, like the book gets opened.
Yeah.
So it is, for all intents and purposes, cast upon the object. Its triggers, at least invariably, include the object and its condition.
Yeah.
And it does always have to be placed on a physical surface.
Yeah. One of the triggers can be seeing or reading the glyph.
Yeah.
Which would be a funny one to have on the inside of a lock.
Aha! There's a glyph of...
It would be absolutely fucking hilarious. Again, if you're paranoid enough.
They figured the more likely is someone's going to open the drawer rather than read the glyph without opening the drawer.
Exactly, but that's what you get enough of them to cover all of the bases. Like, it's only 200 GP per spell. Like,
he wasn't funding an army or anything.
No.
He didn't need that money.
He didn't have better things to spend his money on.
So, Jebel, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just something about Wild Shape that I'm curious how it would work.
Uh-huh.
The whole idea of equipment merges with you, and you can just jump from one Wild Shape to the other.
Right. So, I mean, it means that you can't benefit from the equipment, but you don't lose it either.
Yes, but if I
You're talking
Wild
about your
Shape into an
staff.
animal, pick up something as an animal, and then Wild Shape into another animal.
Did it become part of the equipment of that animal? I would say that I think not, because the game generally differentiates between equipped items and held items. But that's
I think at the very
debatable.
least, you would need to say that you are capable of, like, you can't. The fly can't land on a piece of paper, turn into a mosquito, and eat the piece of paper. That seems like it's not equipment that you have. Like, if you were like
holding a sword
and picked up a book,
Yeah.
and turned into a water elemental, that one I could see happening.
Sure. If it's something that your creature is capable of, in fact, holding, by that I mean carrying, manipulating, maneuvering, then yeah, if you were holding a sword at the time that you wild-shaped, the sword would go with you. So, but if you mean to fly over to the feather, the quill, and then turn into something else, a fly is not necessarily capable of carrying the feather. It may be. But if it wasn't, then it wouldn't go with you.
Suppose two
if it's a
flies
snake.
carry it together.
If I turn it into a snake and swallow it,
I'd allow that.
I mean, if that's what we're discussing, I think the easier thing is just me cast Dispel Magic on the box.
I think Ash is gonna chime in.
Mm-hmm.
Scholar, isn't there one simpler method even than that? Could you not simply drag this chest of drawers to the other end of the room?
My concern with that is a glyph that is triggered to go when the object has moved a foot. Because again, so I can be very paranoid.
Now, this is not a helpful suggestion, but I'm curious if you use the Tatsuya amulet to open it, if that would avoid triggers.
Just lasso it around the handle.
But yeah, I had thought about just moving the thing 10 feet, but again...
The next time I need a beholder in my game, you're running him.
Cool. Everyone's gonna die? I spend a lot of time thinking about magic.
What I can do with magic, what other people might try to do with magic, how I can stop them
If
from
I
doing
were
those
going to hurt me with magic, how would I do it? Which I suppose is exactly what the beholders think about.
Exactly.
Anywho.
So, snake or dispel?
I think Laramentus is just going to cast Dispel Magic on it. But that's a spell slot.
You can
How
cast it
unpleasant!
right now.
How unpleasant will it be for you to reacquire the feather after the fact?
I thought about that a little bit, and I think it would probably be very unpleasant.
6 to 12 hours.
'Cause it has
Okay.
to come out one way or the other.
I will cast Dispel Magic on the box.
Alright, then I'm leaving first.
Don't dispel me, don't dispel me.
I fly out, and I turn back into me.
Alrighty. You do so.
Okay. I cast Dispel Magic on it as a 3rd level spell. How many times am I rolling?
I'd like you.
How overly complicated did I make this?
I would like you to roll twice.
Okay. That is a. First one is a 15th level spell, which is unfortunate because the next one is a 3rd level spell. I got a 13. I rolled a 2 on die.
Alright. Well, you're confident that at least one of the 2 spells is dispelled. Which one was it?
I mean, I don't think that there's any way that I know how many spells I have attempted to dispel.
That's probably true.
But also, it starts with the lowest level one. So, that one's definitely gone. So I will ask Leah what the magic situation of the box still is, or what the drawer still is.
And
Leah, you look and you still see a magic aura there. You still can't see the source of the aura, so you don't know what it is.
okay. There's still an aura, but I can't see the source. It must be inside.
I think that the previous hour of discussion has proven Laramenda's paranoid enough, magic-wise, that I think he's gonna do it again.
I'm not going to accidentally dispel.
Whatever, if there's a spell on the pad, he dispels that too.
So if there's a spell on it, if it's a magic item, then it can't be dispelled.
Just let him
If
dream
there's a
of all the horrible
spell
things
on
you can
it.
do.
Laramentus is banking on it being a magic item and not something that somebody has cast
Be
magic on.
spelled.
So I cast Dispel Magic again.
Okay, roll it. Roll it one time.
Let's see. That's a D12. It's still roll better than my last one, though. God. It's a 6th level spell, which honestly is probably okay. Yeah, that's a 16.
Okay.
I think that his paranoia should probably stop at twice.
Okay.
So Laramentus will say, I've cast Dispel Magic on it twice. Just to be sure. I'm going to open it now. Or, I suppose, we should step towards the door, and the mage hand should open it.
We're ready when you are.
All right. All of you give it some space and One of you conjures a mage hand, which takes hold of the handle to the drawer and tugs it open. At which point, the drawer, the rest of the chest of drawers, and a portion of the wall suddenly turn to dust. There's now 2 entrances to the room.
That's unfortunate, but I want to know what was in there. And luckily, I have a good way of finding out.
Unfortunately, disintegrates a 7th level spell.
Yeah.
Riken is going to walk.
Which also
over to
means it was an
opening.
8th level Glyph of Warding. Which is kind of terrifying.
I thought it only had to be the same level.
Is it the same level?
Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Riken's walking over to the new entrance. He's just gonna peek his head in and be like, "What are you doing to my brother's stuff?"
Oh yeah, it would be 7th level. So close. We were trying to find out what was in there, and given that it was warded by a disintegrate, we should probably find out, which means tomorrow I'm going to come back here.
I don't think that it makes a noise, even.
Yeah, I think it's just gone.
I think it just... The whole wardrobe's just like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
And then there was one other thing
Mm-hmm.
that was warded.
Yep.
The footlocker.
Leah, you can see that there is an aura around either the bed or the footlocker, probably the footlocker, given everything, and an aura under Riken's feet.
Under Riken's feet.
Where there is literally a pile of dust. An impressively deep pile of dust. But given that it vaporized a wall and an entire chest of drawers, there was a lot of material to dust.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go dispel magic on the footlocker again twice.
Yep. Okay. Roll 2 sets of dice each time. Leah?
That is a 25 and a 20
Okay.
first time. And the second time... Second one was shit. But I mean, theoretically, I had nothing to roll against the second time.
Theoretically.
If I...
Potentially.
But if I did need to roll against anything the second time, that would be a 16 and a 14.
Lovely. 6th and 4th level
I'm gonna hope that the 15 and 10th level spells.
I mean, we all trust our unreliable narrator. So, Leah. Leah. I've lost her. Well,
Lighting up, but I can't hear.
I don't hear anything. She is lighting up. What is happening? Leah, rejoin.
Oh, but she said that she'd be right back.
Oh. I see. Alright, well, in the absence of the player, I will state that the character would inform you that there is also still a glow in the pile of dust.
Mm-hmm.
And given that Riken is standing in the pile of dust, I imagine...
She's back.
Hello, Leah. I imagine that Riken would look for the source of the glow. Riken.
Sure. I will dig through the dust.
Alright, you could literally just bend down and swipe your hand back and forth, just shifting the dust, kicking some of it up into the air. And eventually you do uncover a, what looks to be a feather quill.
Jebla will wander over if Leah's shared this information, and when he sees it, he goes like, "That's it."
You still have the hair that's glowing, too.
Oh, you might be holding that, like, in my hand.
Yeah.
It's tied around a finger.
Got light.
No, I got mixed up in the transformation. It's just actually in his face now.
Sticking out of his mouth like a straw or a farmer.
He just has a single hair that's lit up.
It's one of his. Doesn't look like his. Alright, yeah, you find the feather, and Jebel tells you that's the one. Laramentis, you have cast twice, and if there are any gods in this world, that worked.
But yes, Laramentis will ask it to be opened with the mage hand again, with everyone having backed away.
Yeah, we'll do so.
Am I able to? Nope, these can't open. Alright.
Damn.
That gets opened. Inside are a collection of kind of mundane looking items. You see no spell effect occur, no flash of light, no disintegration, nothing to indicate that a spell has been triggered. And within the confines of the box, you do see a small collection of mundane-looking items. Some of them looking like trinkets or mementos. Ryken, you recognize a bunch of these objects as having been of, you know, middling to higher importance in your childhood. You know, one or two of them were tchotchkes that your parents kept in your home in Arcosia. There is a, you know, you can see among them, like, the certificate written out in very neat and stylized Draconic, which commemorated Tatsuya's matriculation from his schooling and into the Temple of Bahamut. There are a couple of other rolled parchments that you can recognize even from the outside, because you recognize the paper and the damage to the edges, that those were also portraits, either paintings or charcoal, that had been made during your childhood living with your parents and with Tatsuya, that you know, even without unrolling them, that those are probably pictures of the family from home.
He did keep all of this stuff. Oh, brother. Why did things have to turn out this way?
One unexpected item in there that you find is a broken wooden training sword. You recognize this one specifically because you remember breaking it.
This is the sword I broke of his the first time that I beat him. Swear it could have been 40 or 50 times I had tried before that. Always besting me, until finally this one. He kept it all this time. Riken's going to kind of turn away, kind of wipe his face a little bit. I'm okay. Something's just in my eyes. The dust that I cleared out earlier.
I'm gonna lean in and give you a hug.
And Riken will hug back. Thank you. Now what's in here that's magical?
You begin sifting through the items. Trying to find the source of the magic. Leah, you're able to see that there is one object that he pushes aside as he's digging through. It looks like a little statuette, something you might keep on a mantelpiece or something just to look nice in the home. Literally what we call a tchotchke. It's of a like a little frog that is standing like a humanoid and dressed in like a summer dress of blue. It's standing like on a little patch of green grass, and it's holding a parasol over its head. Staring at it, now that you can see the source of the magic, you can see that the school is abjuration.
Okay. I'll let Lermanus know that.
I can identify this. It'll take about 10 minutes.
Riken, you recognize this tchotchke. It was your mother's favorite. She always made sure to keep it at the center of the mantelpiece and would fuss over you two whenever you were getting rowdy in the house, worried that you would break it over any of the other things that were quite breakable in your well-to-do home.
But we never... Did we ever know that it was magic?
It wasn't, to the best of your knowledge. No, it never came up. And if it had been magic, it wouldn't have been breakable, but she fussed over it like it was.
Yes, Lermanus, please tell me what that is. It used to be my mother's.
Without the item in the box, Leah, the glow is gone. Nothing else in there is magical.
Okay.
I also have this quill for you to identify as well.
I will do so.
That's definitely magical.
The only thing that survived the disintegrate.
Yep.
I can't believe I fucking rolled the wrong way.
It was.
It was just like, I saw the numbers and I'm like, I mean, I have to start from the left. I don't want to, but like, because it's what I always do.
Yep. Nope, it's fair. It's funny though. Very well. 10 minutes elapse, as I imagine you're all going to wait to hear what this is about, yes?
Definitely Riken.
during this time in this room with an open door and an open wall, there, a couple people are going to come up from down below. Other officers in the army headed to their respective beds, and they're going to look curiously at the group of you through the wall that definitely didn't used to be open the way it is now. But none of them says anything. They all seem to recognize you as the officers, and those that get spotted are going to quickly strike off a salute at you.
So, does anyone have a way to actually fix that hole, or do we need to start paying for lumber construction?
I can fabricate the wall if we have the lumber. We'll have to, at the very least, inform Ruby of the situation.
I mean, I'm assuming it's wood. I don't have, like, the stream open.
I think it's wood, yeah.
It's wood.
Yeah.
Alright. Because if it was stone, I'd have that handled, but...
But I think, while I am casting Identify, if someone could go and inform Ruby.
Well, charismatic leader, it sounds like something you'd be good at. Or at least that they'd appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, I can go to speak with her.
Alright. We'll go do that. Whee. Slice.
Armando's wanted to do it because he's been wanting to talk to her about magic. He needs to cast Identify.
I mean,
jump.
maybe you can talk to her about it later. Maybe she doesn't need to know right away.
He needs to talk to her about the fabricate and everything anyway, so just use that. She should know soon. Since people have seen it, she should know. Like, we should tell her.
Yes. Alright, so, while you are casting, Yukikaze, you head away from the group, down the stairs, and up to the bar. Around you, the place is a little bit livelier than earlier, now that a little bit more time has passed, but not so much that it's really bedtime yet, so there are more of the officers here drinking, sharing stories, laughing, a small trickle of them heading up to their rooms to turn in earlier or whatever it is they do. But down here, it's pretty happening. You can see that Ruby and her staff are moving quickly to keep the place supplied with food and drinks. But you wander up to the bar, and, after a minute or two, she's able to kind of stop, leans an arm on the bar, looking you square in the eyes, and says, "What do you have, General?"
I think I could go for a sweet ale.
Alright then. And she's going to turn and pull a mug down, and you can hear that there's a cask behind the counter that she's bunged, that she's beginning to fill from. She doesn't have to move far from you. And say, "It's been pretty quiet down here since you all headed upstairs."
Do you find this quiet? Seems like you're doing pretty, things are a little bustling.
Let me be more clear. I kind of expected that once you all left your table, things might start exploding upstairs.
Well, you might not necessarily be wrong.
She's going to finish.
That's the most indelicate way to say that.
She's going to finish filling the mug, and she's going to kind of set it down on the table, on the counter between you, the head of the ale kind of sloshing over the edges. She removes her hand before it has a chance to fall on her fingers. And without breaking eye contact, she says, "What have you broken?"
I regret to inform you.
Just get to it.
At the wall, one of the walls of Tatsuya's a room they were staying in has been broken.
You were roughhousing, weren't you? I'm surprised I didn't hear it.
No. Actually, real quick, out of character, since I had to step away, what did happen to the wall?
It got disintegrated.
got disintegrated.
Laramentus was not sufficient. Oh, my ward regenerated a fuck ton.
You cast so many times.
Okay, so I will say no. It didn't like explode or anything. It disintegrated. So to properly acquire the knowledge that, because when Bahamut assigned me here and took Tatsu away, I needed to know some of the things he had in mind. So I was going through his room, and apparently he had magic traps set in his room.
Darling, none of that is my business. You could have told me you were attacked by assassins, and I would have said, okay, well, at least it wasn't worse.
Oh, I wouldn't want to lie to you.
So you were going through the... She's gonna kind of stop herself, kind of look around, and lower her voice. You were looking about for information, and a trap went off. So you're telling me that someone put a trap in the room?
Correct.
And should I imagine that they had perhaps felt there were other objects that needed protecting from prying eyes?
Actually, I would have to double check with everyone. Our magic casters are the ones investigating things after the one was activated, so...
Was it
I
the
think,
magic
given our
casters that set it
discussions,
off?
I think, given our discussions and everything, you know that that's her statement is probably a reasonable assumption.
Okay.
You've dealt with enough, like, powerful magic and just had a long discussion about Laramentus' paranoia.
Yes. Okay.
Do I need to clear the building out so you can clear it out for me?
No, everything is all set. Everything. There's nothing else left in the room. I just wanted to let you know about the wall in case you wanted us to fix it, or you wanted to have you. Well, no, we have the carpenters. Yeah, I just wanted to know what you'd like to do with the room.
I'm not even thinking about the room right now. I'm thinking what I need to do is draw a cordon across the stairs and have you go through all the other rooms to make sure that any of my other guests aren't going to have similar challenges just trying to get their pajamas on.
Everyone's been here for quite a few days. I doubt that would be an issue.
I don't see a reason to risk it if it disintegrated. That's kind of dangerous.
That's a fair enough point.
So, you and your friends have my permission to take a look around to make sure everyone else here is safe for me.
Alright. I will be happy to do that for you.
Consider it payment for my wool.
Alright, that sounds good.
Now, do you need anything else? Food, snacks, beverages to take upstairs to your friends?
I didn't ask them if they wanted anything, but...
I'll get you some water.
Okay.
Everyone can use water doing work like yours. She's going to just come back with a wooden tray with 7 wooden mugs on it so you won't break anything, and each of them is topped off with cold water.
Alright. Thank you very much, Ruby, and we'll get things taken care of.
Good. Try not to disintegrate anything else.
Oh, we won't.
I know roughhousing.
We won't. Alright, so I'll mosey on back upstairs. Well, actually, as I'm walking, I'll telepath and be like, so Ruby isn't too upset about the wall, but she is a little worried about magic traps in the inn. So she gave us permission to search everywhere to make sure everyone is safe.
Very well.
You also know, Yukikaze, that by permission she meant she's very much insisting you do it.
No, yeah. If anyone was against it, I would say that we are doing here. So, alright, so that's what I said, and I also got some water for you guys if you're thirsty. When I'll mosey on back up to everyone.
Alright. By the time you're back, the spell is finished. Larmendus, your Identify spell allows you to know that this tchotchke of a frog in a summer dress with a parasol was spelled with Nistel's magic aura.
Okay.
And nothing else. Someone wanted to make it look magic. You also know from your Identify, because I can't think of a reason that Identify wouldn't tell you this, that the object has been modified to be a container, and it contains something.
Okay. If I were paranoid... The fact that Nistel's magic aura was cast on it would make it probably, I guess, if you cast Nistel's magic, if you have a magic box, so the magic box to detect magic is triggering your detect magic, would you be able to see that there is magic inside of the thing as well?
Identify would have told you, and if you were to dispel Nistel's magic aura, then if there was something magic inside it, you would still see an aura.
I mean, so my concern is the somebody cast a glyph of warding inside the thing.
Right, but Identify would have told you about the glyph of warding.
That is true. All right.
No, you are very confident that Nistel's was the only thing on this thing making a mundane object appear magical.
Yeah. I think Larmendus will hand it to Riken and inform him about the spell on it and the fact that it is a container and has something in it, and ask him if he wants to open it. Since it seemed meaningful to him.
Riken, you're muted. Riken's dead.
Bound to happen sooner or later. And given Cord, probably sooner rather than later.
It is the ultimate way to worship Cord. To give your life for him. He unmuted, but I still don't hear him.
Hello?
Now I heard something.
Oh, he left.
Oh, he's really dead now.
Welcome back. Maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, okay. I was very worried because I was like starting to talk after I muted, and you guys kept talking over me.
Yeah, it didn't even light up.
So I was asking first when I was muted, then when I was somehow ghost muted. Is there like a clear place like for me to open it? Like it's not just like, oh, I have to break it.
Given that Larmendus was able to tell you that it was modified to be a container, something's got to open on it, and logic would tell you that probably the place to store things is in the body cavity, and the easiest thing to remove that would give you a wide open spot to drop anything in would be the neck, so the head might come off.
Okay. Riken is going to first hand the quill to Larmendus.
Larmendus will begin casting Identify on the quill.
Okay.
And then Riken, like, because of like what this meant to his mom as they were growing up, and she would beat them if like they got close to knocking it over. Just like basically just like hit him with the spoon and whatnot. basically like shaking. He would gently tug on the head, trying to get it to come off, but like hoping he doesn't get too much resistance that it might come off, like break.
Make a strength check.
Oh dear God! Why would you
I'm
do
not
this?
the
to
DM. I don't have that kind of power.
Yeah, but Tristan's not objecting.
I love hearing people make rolls and deciding what effect that number is going to have, even if originally I wasn't going to ask for a roll. It's half the fun of my job. Like, oh, you want to impose a roll on yourself? Okay. Oh, you got shit? Yeah, this will be funny.
Oh God. That is a 20.
20. Alright. So you, very carefully holding this thing by the legs, get your big dragonborn fingers around the frog's very bulbous head and just gently begin to rock it back and forth, and you kind of hear it. And so then you kind of give it a little bit of a twist, just a small twist to see if it moves in that direction. It goes that way too. And you kind of start pulling on it just a little. And then it pops off. Clearly held in by somebody has attached a cone of cork to the bottom of the head and shoved that into the ceramic neck, creating a seal. But unexpectedly, it kind of pops off, and with your 20 in strength, as it comes up quickly, you're going to, with your knuckle, kind of knock the parasol askew, and it's going to become, it's going to snap off at the handle and fall to the floor like a little umbrella drink. Umbrella.
No! Mom, I'm sorry! Gonna grab the parasol really quickly and try to
fit it
see if we can
back
attach it.
You're trying desperately to stick back. It's got this jagged break right above the hand that was holding it. It just doesn't seem to want to go back together. Like with enough force, you can kind of get it to bind up a little bit. And it stays there for a second, then it kind of like droops a little, and then just falls off to the floor again.
I think Servandus is trying to like hide a smile. Not well.
Alright, he shouted for mending. Who here will respond to this cry?
Servandus holds up a finger, like in the like universe, wait a minute, because he already started casting Identify. I don't know if anyone else has mending.
I'm assuming nobody does. Well, Mike is going to hold on to the piece then, and he's going to then peek his eye kind of into the hole of the body, and then kind of try to gently dump the contents, whatever that might be in there, into his hand.
You're able to invert it over your hand and give it a couple gentle shakes, and eventually this rolled up piece of parchment tied with a little piece of twine slides out and falls into the palm of your waiting hand.
All right, Riken will gently put the pieces down on the bed, and then kind of unroll the parchment, take the twine off, and unroll the parchment. And look at it.
Within the parchment, you see a neat script, a tight handwriting that you recognize. You see Tatsuya's hand in this familiar draconic script. His handwriting hasn't changed much in the years we've been apart. And you can see that it is a note addressed to you.
Riken will read it.
You motherfucker!
You looked through my stuff!
It says, Riken, if you are reading this, then you are both more clever and more treacherous than I could have guessed. Our years apart have probably trained you well, and I am heartbroken that we have been placed at odds in our journeys. My only hope is that by the time you read this, I have accomplished my goal and been able to unite this world, though you disagree with my means. If that is not the case, then I hope at least that you can agree that such an end goal is worth working toward, and that you will carry on my mission, even if it means finding another way. I want you to know that my greatest regret in all of this is what Bala did to Arcosia, and that I continue to work toward this end to make their loss, their sacrifice, worth it. Worth something. I hope that we should not have to meet as enemies on the battlefield, but if we do, I want you to know that even in spite of our difference here, now, on this journey, I have always respected and loved you, brother. And even should one of us fall, I want you to know that that will not change, that I do only what is necessary, and I hope in time you, or your departed spirit, can forgive me. Yours, as family, forever, Tatsuya Lumos. Proudly of Arcosia.
Riken will kind of move a little bit further down the bed and kind of sit down on it, so like away from the pieces.
Yeah. They clink.
Shoulders slouched. Oh, that goddamn knucklehead. He just had to go and do all this. Never let me in on what he wanted to do. Might have found a better way. We will do it the better way. And he will come back and he will see. Riken will stand back up. Now with like more fire kind of burning in his eyes as he is kind of somehow reached a new gear of passion and wanting to complete this and take down the dragons. Lyrimundus, have you figured out what that quill does?
The voice in the sky. As Lyrimundus has figured out what the quill is.
Yes. Your identify completes around the time he finishes his think about what he's read. You find from your spell that this is a feather taken from a magical bird native to the Feywild. One that is known to be brilliantly beautiful and tends to leave trails of motes of magic in its wake as it flies. It's called a bird of paradise. And what you learn from the spell about its function is that when the feathers are taken from this bird, they retain whatever amount of magic they have been grown with. So the longer a feather is part of the creature's body, the more magic it will have stored in it. And this stored magic allows the pen, the quill, to do some very special things. One of which is that no matter what material you use to write, it can imbue the magic from within the quill into the writing, so it can be used to copy spells down without spending any resources.
Ooh.
And a second thing it can do is, if the user wills it, up to 5 times per day, it can be used to write out a sending and send it.
Okay.
Those are its 2 primary powers.
Luramendus will share this. Luramendus is also having thoughts about looking into the raising of these birds, along with the research that Nalia is doing into residuum and the acquiring thereof. But that's not relevant to, what's going on here and now. But it is certainly a thing that Luramendus is going to talk to her about the next time that you can.
So, given the things that you've been told recently, you imagine that this quill is what allowed Tatsuya to keep informed and establish his resource exchange agreements, and set up his little empire here with all that money and all these grenades and magical items and such, without having to constantly be traveling either, manually or via Angel.
Yeah. Which means those papers that were disintegrated are probably the sendings that he has been sending, which would be very nice to read tomorrow. I fucking love my spell.
Oh, his plan was so good, and then you existed.
Little did he know that magic that he had no reason to know existed. Egg on his face.
If only he were alive, he'd probably lick it off.
Eggs are delicious. Too bad we'll never know. Well, I guess you technically could tell us what was in the wardrobe as well with your spell.
Oh, I thought the wardrobe didn't have anything magic in it other than the...
It didn't have anything magic. It just had a hypnotic pattern to potentially stop people from going through this room. It being closest to the door, it's the likely first place anyone will look.
My bad. I must have misheard. I thought it was like because that triggered that it's like canceled out the magic or whatever that might have been in it.
No, that wardrobe I did describe as having a couple...
It has a box of papers in it, which we should remove from the wardrobe.
Correct. You may do so.
I also cast Mending on the parasol.
Yes, the parasol becomes fixed. You can stick the frog's head back on, and it will be nearly as though nothing happened.
Yep, Riken will put
the thing is, though,
in.
You'll always know that it was broken.
When I
deep down, your mother will know.
Riken is going to try to suppress this as much as he can.
It's tough. Like, there's that trauma there. It looks better though, and that helps a lot. But there's still that little niggling worry in the back of your mind, knowing that your mother always seemed to know when something happened in the house when she wasn't around. Always seemed to get in trouble at some point.
Riken's like, God damn it, when I die, I'm gonna have a spoon ready for me.
I wonder if spirits can feel spoon blows. She'll find a way.
If anyone can do it.
Oh, the wooden ones sting the most.
Oh, that's definitely what she uses.
Riken, would you like the opportunity to go through the rest of your brother's effects? Anything that we need to move should probably be moved into the mansion. I believe from what Yukikaze had said that Leah and I, or at least that I should start going through and speaking with the different officers to determine any sources of magic that might be disruptive to the structural stability of the inn.
Yes, that seems like the most appropriate things to do this time.
Glance through the fallen wall, and there's just another officer, somewhat inebriated, a human kind of teetering his way down the hall, who keeps glancing back, and finally, catching one of your eye, just kind of goes, "Was the door not big enough? You needed more?"
Yep, I definitely think you should start doing that.
You're not going to answer the guy? Say anything to him? Layman is going to begin.
I miss the party. If we're smashing things, I want to help. And he just kicks the wall next to him and knocks himself over.
Larmendus begins casting detect magic so he can start going door to door and have the spell around to go and talk to people.
Very good.
Riken will turn to the drunk and be like, "Don't worry about this opening. Just please go back to your room."
I want to go back to my room the fun way.
Starts
no,
He's lying on the ground at this point. He's definitely having trouble getting up. You think he might just
starts rolling? It's the fun way, and then he gets really dizzy, and he's like, "Oh, this is not fun."
General.
Yukikaze, you gotta answer him.
I think you need the rest.
General, carry me.
I'm not carrying you.
General, permission to be carried, sir.
General, permission to be carried, sir.
This is Constitution training. You can do it.
Lieutenant General, please carry me.
The general did not give the order to carry. You must make it to your room. This is part of a test.
He rolls one more time and then just throws up on himself. He seems resigned to just stay here in the hallway in his vomit.
Soldier, I see that you must work more on your constitution.
My constitutionals I do every morning.
Dear God, I hope you do more than once.
Sometimes. Whenever the need strikes me, sir. Permission to poop, sir.
General.
You need to get a hold of yourself there.
He just starts hugging himself.
Oh man.
You go around scanning the other rooms. You said you wanted to talk to people. Was there anything in particular you wanted to ask the Blair?
No, so like if there is, it's not like he goes and knocks on the door.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a response, he tells them that he is, inspecting for any magic that might be going on, might go off.
Okay.
And looks in the room and like does that scan. If there is anything, he's going to ask about it.
Yeah.
And determine if they know it's there and what's going on there. Yeah. And then room to do essentially that.
Yeah. So it takes you about an hour to do the whole floor. You find several of the rooms have magic in them. Most of them are like the magic weapons or grenades that these guys have been getting stocked with lately. You actually don't find much. You don't find anything that seems to have been left by Tatsuya. Here or there, it's more Nistal's magic or some kind of abjuration spell, and they'll tell you, yeah, I had that enchanted by the Mages Guild to protect it. It's important to me. It's usually some abjuration spell to keep it from breaking.
Yeah.
But nothing seems amiss, which is a little surprising given the level of paranoia you just dealt with in Tatsuya's room, but it seems he kept it contained to his room.
Yeah.
And you can go let Ruby know about that. I want to let you do that, so I want to see if these guys are going to do anything more with the drunk who's just lying on the floor in his own vomit, hugging himself and asking to be carried before we do that.
And asking if he could go to the bathroom.
Well, Riken told him he should have more than one constitutional. So, General Yukikaze. A member of your army is not deporting himself well.
As befitting an officer.
As befitting an officer.
If we have to take care of him, he's getting disciplined. He's going to be working harder tomorrow. And what's also great is I'm deciding right now.
He's still...
Riken's the strongest. Riken and Leah, do you have some... Or, they want a precedent station available?
Lara isn't here, so somebody else.
I don't have presentation, and I'm currently in the middle of going through my brother's things.
Don't touch my shit, Riken.
It will only take you a sec to take... You can leave it there for a minute and take care of this guy to his room. Leah, would you please assist your dad and help take care of this?
One more time on that, vendor.
But I'm just wondering, can't Riken... Did you lay on hands to make him not drunk anymore, like you did with...
That's his choice. I ain't gonna tell him what to do. He's just got to get the guy to the room.
I'm not gonna tell him what to do. I'm only the general.
Over on the ground, covered in his own
I'm gonna tell him what to do.
I am not gonna micromanage my officers. I told him to take care of the guy. The way he does it is up to him. Riken, please take this guy to his room. And Leah, would you please help take care of the mess? Because I don't know. Jebel, you don't press the station, right?
No.
I do.
Alright. I would really appreciate it, please.
Fine. I'll help.
Riken will go out with Leah and go to the guy. Wait for Leah to clean everything up first. 'Cause he's not touching that shit.
Alright, Leah, you may prestidigitate the man, the area around the man again.
Like I said again.
Yeah, I'm going to change to, let's see, is it this one, I think.
Oh, changing seasons.
Yep.
Is it because you're spring cleaning?
This is actually
Boo.
summer. Actually, summer day.
Look, the only boo is that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah,
Just a summer.
yeah, she's not happy. I mean, she's like, she. How, like, if it's possible to imagine prestidigitation with aggressively.
It sort of like sears things clean. Like normally it there's that like bit of a spark and like things just feel right. This like it's like the air feels warmer.
It's the rough side of the sponge.
Yeah.
So he's cleaner now. He looks somehow more uncomfortable than he had when he was not clean. He didn't wait for permission to poop. But he's clean now. So, even though the area around him still kind of... You've got a bit of that reek in the air still. He's touchable now, Riken.
Riken will pick him up. And I'll be like, which room is yours, soldier?
Just as you, like, throw him over... Are you throwing him over your shoulder, or are you princess carrying him?
Oh, dear God.
Is he like a burlap sack? Is it like the fireman's carry? Prince just dragging him?
I think it's fireman's carry.
I was thinking just grab him by the collar and drag him.
So you pull him across both of your shoulders in a fireman's carry. And, you know, he's still inebriated. And you just hear, you know, a burp in your ear followed by, "You have such soft hands, Lieutenant General."
Dear God, just tell me where your room is.
7. It's number 7.
Why did you say 5 first?
I thought it was 5 looks like a 7. It's like a bird, and it flew to the 7 tree where we got berries full of 8s and soft hands.
Alright, double laughs for you tomorrow.
I don't want extra chocolate on my ice cream, Mom.
Oh my God. Riken quickly gets to 7 as fast as he can. And literally just kicks the door. He does not care at this point.
There you kick the door, you have 20-odd strength, so you break the latch, you hear a rattle of steel across the floor, and you hear somebody jerking awake in their bed going, "What the hell's going on? What is it? Who's there?"
Here's one of your squad mates.
What? And
Take care of him.
dump him down on the floor. This person comes out of their bed and they look down and I'm like, "He's in the room next door. Why did you break my doors, Lieutenant?"
He's in the room next door. He said 7.
What? They check their door. They look over, like, 7B. This is 7A.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god.
And we dance through the meadows with the birds and the trees.
Triple the laugh tomorrow.
I like to run with my friends.
Oh my god. All of you, go to bed. Riken's going to pick him back up, get out the door, slam the door, and those they hear the door next door over.
As it reels back open because it can't latch.
I'm telepathic bond, Riken. You hear? Make sure you get his name.
Oh, don't worry, I know what he looks like. And he freaking before he kicks in 7B now.
He knocks on it first. No one answers. Then you kick it in.
Oh, I wasn't even knocking. But he might have knocked, and I would immediately kick it in right after he knocked. I would not care. Riken's through with this. He dumps him on this floor.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant General. I love you.
Now go to bed.
Okay.
What's your name?
Radcliffe.
Radcliffe?
Yep, that's me.
Alright, now go to bed.
Okay, good
Insight
night.
Good
check.
night.
Insight
He's
check.
and he's gonna slam the door.
When it opens again because it can't latch.
I think like 20 minutes later, Laramentis gets to 7A and 7B and just knocks, and like with the first knock, the door just opens, and he sees the busted lock, and then he just mends it.
He's such a nice person.
Yeah, before all that though, Riken heads back to his brother's room, walks past Yukaze, like kind of like clapping his hands like of like dust and stuff. He's like, "All right, all done."
Alright, well, thank you for taking care of that. Now you can get back to looking through your brother's stuff.
Thank you.
And I'll be looking through any of his notes, Tristan.
You'll be looking through
Anything that Riken's not looking through.
Yeah, I mean, there was that, box of papers that, Laramentis suggested taking back to the, mansion.
Alright, I'll gather those up.
Are you gonna focus on, like, the mementos from home, Riken, and leave those documents for later? Or do you want those too?
No, I want to focus more on the home stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot. And it's almost all of it is meaningful to you. The papers can go back to the mansion, and if you want to take them there and go through them, Yukikaze, you can. Oh, that was exciting. Never thought the random drunk would elicit that response, but I'm really glad it did.
It was just the right timing.
Started
I
singing.
thought Laramentis was gone.
I thought that enchanting the Matryoshka doll there so that it appeared magic was a great way to make sure somebody would check it out.
It was. I like
And
it,
to
and I like
trigger
how
my
it's
paranoia.
very nice touch.
Okay, we got a little bit of time left. So, all of you magic casters, the magic stuff in this room seems to have been taken care of. Leah, you don't see any more magic auras besides the one on that quill that I'm guessing Laramendus walked off with.
Yeah, if nobody tried to take it from him, he absolutely pocketed it.
Okay, so I guess I'll just quickly ask, does anybody, upon hearing Laramendus' explanation of what this quill can do, request it or attempt to take it?
I mean, when he explained it to us, Riken would have said that he should hold on to it because he's the one that does the sendings for us, and like it would help him with like spells and whatnot. So it would be more beneficial to him than anyone else, in Riken's opinion.
Alright, one vote for Lara to keep it. Any votes for anybody else to keep it?
Remind me what it does. My internet kind of cut out for a bit.
It lets one copy spells for free, basically, because the magic within the pen fuels the writing of the spell. So you don't need any special materials or to have any money invested while copying spells. And then its second ability is that 5 times a day it can be used to cast Sending by writing out a note and while doing so, willing that note to a person you know.
I don't copy spells, so I have no use for it.
Okay. Leah,
Yeah.
do you want the pen?
Pen?
The magic pen?
I kind of blanked out. What did it say? Did we get explanation of what it does?
Yep. Twice.
Yeah. There you go. I just haven't really been in it. It's that kind of year.
I'm sorry. It lets you copy spells for free, and it lets you perform Sending by writing a note.
Oh, well, sure, I can take it.
Okay, so Leah has put in a vote for her to get it. Cyrus? Cyrus is dead.
Sorry. I got distracted by someone coming in the door. What was that? I know the question was directed at me, I just didn't get the question.
Magic pen. Do you want it?
I mean, I want to borrow it from time to time, but since it helps with scribing scrolls, it makes most sense for Lair to have it.
Okay. And
Boy,
Yukikaze.
if it does for copying spells, then that means it would be used for writing scrolls, which means Laramendus can just write a fuck ton of scrolls.
Cha-ching.
Oh shit! That's tomorrow.
Yuki.
Everyone, it's just whoever it's most useful for.
Okay. So, the only one who's expressed interest in getting it from you immediately is Leah.
If I can use it to write scrolls, then that will be extremely beneficial for our magical abilities as an army. I would at least request that I hold on to it for the time being, but any sendings that you wish to perform with it are perfectly fine.
Is that acceptable to you, Leah?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like you get to hang on to it for now, Lair.
Excellent.
Alright. I know Lair wants to go talk to Ruby. We've got time for that. Does anybody else have any scene they want to run, very badly right now? Or are people going to start retiring to the magical mansion?
I'll be heading to the mansion because I got to go through this paperwork.
Alright. One for mansion.
I'll go I'll be reading through it until I get tired, and then I'll go to sleep.
That's good. Jebel, do you want to do anything in particular, or head to the mansion?
I have nothing I need to do at the moment. No.
All right, mansion is good.
Yep.
Okay, Cyrus. Conversation, scene, or mansion?
Probably mansion. I'd use the time to probably use my sending stone for the day,
Okay.
but I gotta write that up.
Yep, that's fine. Take your time. Leah, do you have any character, NPC you'd like to talk to, or would you like to go to the mansion, conduct a Lorelei?
People can also sleep in the actual room and not the mansion if they prefer.
That's true, but, like, it's there, and so comfy.
I don't have any interaction planned.
Okay. Do you want to, like, hang in the room and think about it?
Nah, I can go to the mansion.
Okay. And Riken, you're going to hang here and see what baubles your brother has kept from your old life?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. The people trickle out of the room, leaving you to your reverie.
Okay.
Put them there. And since nobody has anything in particular they want to go over, Blair, you finally have your moment, your scene.
Excellent.
And you have the good news that you can bring to her as your lead-in, which is that you did as she asked, and checked the place upstairs. You do notice as you get to the bottom of the stairs, there is, like, a cordon across it to block entry, and you can also see, like, a greasy handprint at the wall where somebody, like, pushed it out of the way and snuck under.
I think he's just gonna prestidigitate the handprint.
such a nice boy. And then you can approach the bar. As you do so, you can see that this place is starting to wind down, and there are several people. You can see them in the lantern light outside the door, sort of talking, conversing, and every now and then glancing inside, seeming to try to catch the eye of Ruby. You think perhaps these are people who have tried to go upstairs and been turned away.
So Larmendus will say, I have done my inspection of the rooms and everything is safe.
Oh, well, that's excellent news. Your friend there had me a little on edge about it. I didn't want anybody getting hurt.
Luckily, no one did.
That's good. Well, no one breathing, I take it. I'd heard there'd been a little property damage.
Yes. I can fabricate a wall tomorrow if we have the lumber.
We'll take a look at it together in the morning. Figure out what's best. But I do appreciate that you'll do that. I told your friend there that payment for it would come in the form of checking the place out. So technically we're square. But I won't stop you from fixing things.
I think that is only fair.
She tilts her head to one side, accepting this. Deciding not to argue the point. Well, other than your mansion, I hope that the room has been comfortable.
It has been very comfortable. The mansion wasn't because of the room. We just needed a bit more space and needed somewhere private.
I see. I suppose that makes a bit of sense. I used to use them from time to time when I was on the road. Damnable comfortable, though.
They are wonderful. They have made trips around much nicer in the evenings.
She smiles, though she's looking at the countertop. You see her kind of focusing on what looks to be a small puddle of something spilled, perhaps focusing on a reflection in it that you can't see from your angle, but she's not looking at you, but her smile stays in response to, you think, the words you said.
Mm-hmm.
I do miss the days, though.
I guess... How does he? Because Laramanus wants to be retired. So he'll say.
I mean, he was retired, and we pulled him out of retirement.
Yeah, and he wants to go back. So I think he will say. I would hope that the calm after a long travel, though, has been amenable.
There's sort of a long pause before she says anything, and then you see that she takes a deep breath in, still staring into that puddle for the moment before breaking her eyes away by closing them and giving her head a little shake, and then looking at you, and you can see that there is a little distance in her eyes. She says, "Oh, yes, of course, I gave up adventuring for a reason. It was time. But that is not to say that enjoyable things didn't happen in those days, and that there aren't things about it that I would do again. If I could." She amends. I said I miss those days. It's the nights that I don't miss.
Laramanus just like nods very knowingly at that.
She, waves a hand at you, kind of like clearly not sure exactly how she wants to phrase it, but she says, "I'm sure you've had quite a bit of time to find your stride and think about that afterward. But I'm hoping that that isn't too much because of the nights."
No, thankfully. It's just been a busier time than I prefer, and there are people that I would very much like to go back to.
Ah, there's those not on the journey with you. Now I think I can see the shape of it. Well, I never fault anyone their choices, their preferences. Adventuring's not for everybody, and the costs can be quite high. Time, not least of those costs.
Out of character. True time, but like it's been like 4 months.
You are talking to a human.
Yeah.
She's taken up one of the mugs and is scrubbing it with a soapy rag, while talking to you. And she finally meets your eyes again. There's a bit of a twinkle in them. She says, "Would you indulge me a moment, then? I want to know about this person that could draw an adventure away from the road. Some cozy place, I suspect."
Laramanus will smile. And he'll say, "I'll share that if you'll share a story of yours. Stories are a thing that I like to collect, and the travels have been quite nice to let me see how things have changed since the last time I walked around."
I'll agree to that on one further stipulation. I don't want to hear my stories in any bard songs coming through my tavern.
He'll smile and say, I don't think that anything that I learn about will make its way that way."
Very well. Well then, what kind of a story do you want to hear? Try to avoid the really tragic ones if you can. They still hurt some.
I think he would probably just ask about... I think that he would... I don't know if he wants to ask about the people that she was, like the camaraderie or something, maybe? Something like fun memory in that kind of vein.
Okay.
And he'll,
You
share
phrase
what,
it
what he
eloquently.
will about, yeah. And he'll share what he will about Nalia and the whole situation there. Well, not the whole situation. He is careful about what he shares, but and it is probably clear that he's not that he's being careful about what he shares to her, but
I see.
everything he says is very truthful.
Alright. Well, let's flavor it up a little. She'll tell you, when you ask about former traveling companions and the good times, because you've been able to read plainly that that's what she misses.
And I think when he's asking about that, he probably looks up towards the room when he is asking about that. At least for a noticeable moment.
And she'll say, I'm not sure on the whole of things. My experience on it was terrible different from many other adventurers of the like. We met rather unexpectedly at the beginning. There was a lot of fussing. People didn't get along too well in the start. But, as the days went and the dangers mounted, seeing one another through brought us together. And it was once we had a bit of a bond going, the wizard was taking her time to learn spells at night. Our resident brawler was always trying to interrupt her, see if he could get a rise. The night that I remember best, one that made me think, I don't know what would have happened, how I would have felt about my life, if I had chosen to walk away the first time, there came a roughness in the relationship. But I'm really glad I didn't. It was probably... we had just done a job, gotten paid and everything. We'd gone out to spend the whole fortune, burn that hole in your pocket, make sure there's not a coin left to spend between you. A lot of drink. But we got some fancy things too. And I think that's what surprised me most, when I realized maybe there's something to it. I told ya that our fighter was always trying to get a rise out of the wizard. She wouldn't give him the time of day. Too many spells to learn, and he was such a brute, didn't bathe enough. But that night, he was up to his usual games, trying to see if he could distract her while practicing a spell, set something unexpected on fire. Well, she did. She seemed to lose control of her spell, and she set this burlap sack ablaze. And I thought, oh, now he's done it. Fighter's gonna get incinerated. Because that's what she just bought at the market today. But as the bag burns away, suddenly you see this glinting in the firelight. There's silver in there. Not coins, but bands. Cheeky girl. She knew he'd do something like that. She wanted to scare him, but also she wanted to make something of it, you know? To life. None of us even suspected that she didn't so much mind his playing and teasing. I got to officiate, you know. The first wedding. That's
Quite an honor. I think the entire time Larametis has been smiling and like wistfully and like happily and all of that. And
that's what I think back on when I remember the good old days. That's always the highlight. God, I miss their faces. They had it good a while. Now then. You've got a bonny lass then?
I do.
Spent a lot of time. She kind of like is rubbing the round of one of her ears and looking kind of, you know, mischievously at you.
Larametis will smile and nod. We have known each other for many years now.
But she's not on this little journey with you, so you haven't been official.
The journey has done a good job of showing me what's important outside of the journey.
Ah.
And luckily, magic makes long distances much shorter.
I never had a hand for it myself, but I can appreciate. As I said, got to avoid many a cold night thanks to her mansion. Well, that's lovely. And I'm suspecting then that she's got a hand at magic and doesn't have to miss you too terrible.
She's one of the most brilliant mages that I know.
You see, she kind of like she was looking down toward the mug, but she does kind of a double take up at you, and you can tell she's watching your expression as you say that. And you see this smile spread across her face. Ah, I like that look you get when you talk about her like that. Well, hopefully the journey doesn't keep you away too much longer.
I think that we're very soon nearing the point where at least I can depart from things. Things will be in a good state.
It does my heart good to hear you've got such confidence talking about things, since I'm no fool. I know what these boys are all waiting for, training for. And I know that you're a big part of it now. So, I guess I'll say this in closing. Knock 'em dead, please. Give 'em 1-2 for my old lodging.
We will.
Well, me and my husband will buy you a round of drinks when you get back from that, then. And bring that bonny lass of yours with you.
I think that would be a very nice trip.
I won't be going anywhere anytime soon, so you know where to find me. Gotta get this place whipped back ship shape. No less true for the native ships.
I'm looking forward to seeing what it becomes again in the future. I hadn't had the pleasure of traveling in this area before, but...
It's quiet where it was, and that's why I liked it. It's on the sea. I always like to dip my toes. And it's far from where my parents lived, which made me feel like I was finally doing it out on my own. I'm sure they'd laugh.
I think we'll laugh very, like, wholeheartedly at far from the parents. They'll just mine are in the Feywild.
Quite far, aren't they? Mine have passed on by now, but they'd probably be laughing the chains off those ghosts if they knew that I'd fallen into their own profession. They ran it in when I was a wee lass. And I'd always told them I would never stay in such a place when there's such a wide, beautiful world out there to see. They'd laugh knowing I was wrong. I mean, I'm glad of the adventure, and they'd laugh knowing that I still fell into their profession. Well, anytime you want to share some stories, I'd love to hear them. And I suppose that I can spare the cost. It's good to speak of old friends. Keep them alive. Especially when they're not.
Laramenus will just nod solemnly.
I think I need a drink already. You want something?
I think that would be nice.
Very good. She'll get you anything you want that she has.
He asks for some. I don't know what he asks
Yeah, exactly. Anything you want that she
he
has.
asks for a thing.
And he
That
gets
is
the
something that
thing.
she has.
Yes. And you share a drink. Okay. 10:30. Almost on the dot. We will, pick it up from there next time. I'm not sure when we're meeting next. Maybe next week if everyone's available. But if not, figure it out. So, I don't have to give anybody experience. I'm going to keep forgetting that I don't have to until I'm right about to, and then say, wait, everyone's 20.
Next time we need to start with the purple worm.
Yep. Look, there was a
Sorry,
lot.
Vendor.
I'm sorry to Vendor too, but he is doing his thing, and he's gonna get his nitro out of it. So I think that'll make him
Ironman
happy.
is going to be terrified by the amount of TNT that this man has produced.
You left him alone!
I did! With a workspace that he doesn't need to be worried about damaging, and servants to do whatever he needs them to do in there.
I blew up the library and it smells like shit. Alright.
Aye.
Vendar. Thank you for being here, Vendar. We will definitely start with you next time. And with that, bye, stream.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.